At 60 years old, sitting in my newly painted sunroom with my morning coffee, I finally understand what freedom feels like. It's quiet. It's mine. And it took me 2 years to get here. If this sounds familiar, stay with me. You can like and subscribe. We talk about things we don't say out loud. I'm Janet, and I need to tell you about the retirement I planned versus the retirement I almost lived. Because there's a difference between being done working and being free, and my daughter Lisa didn't understand that distinction until it was too late. 2 years ago, I walked out of Jefferson Elementary School for the last time after 33 years of teaching second grade. I was 61. I had my retirement party with the sheet cake and the gift cards and the speeches about what a dedicated teacher I'd been. My principal gave me a plaque. My husband Marcus took photos. My daughter Lisa stood in the back, scrolling on her phone, her 2 kids bouncing around the gymnasium. I had plans, real plans, not dreams, plans. I had $127,000 in my retirement account. I had the cruise to Alaska booked for September, $4,200, already paid. I had my watercolor class starting in July at the community center, $450 for the full semester. I had joined a book club that met Tuesday mornings. I was going to sleep past 6 a.m. for the first time in 33 years. I was going to learn photography. I was going to visit my college roommate in Arizona. I was going to plant a real garden, not just tomatoes in pots. Marcus and I were going to take weekend trips, short ones, Gatlinburg, Savannah, Charleston, places we'd driven past for years but never stopped. I had spreadsheets. I know that sounds excessive, but I'm a teacher. I plan. I had calculated exactly how much I could spend monthly and still be comfortable at 85. I had it all mapped out. The Friday after my retirement party, Lisa came over for lunch. She brought the kids, Tyler, who was 7, and Madison, who was 5. Sweet kids. Loud but sweet. We were sitting at my kitchen table. I was showing her my Alaska cruise itinerary, pointing out the glacier tour and the whale watching. She smiled. It was a strange smile. Patient, like she was waiting for me to finish talking about something silly. "Mom," she said, "this is actually perfect timing." I looked up from my brochure. "Kevin and I have been talking," she continued. Kevin was her husband, worked in pharmaceutical sales, made good money. We're both working full-time now, and daycare for 2 kids is costing us $2,400 a month. That's almost $29,000 a year. I nodded. I knew childcare was expensive. "So we were thinking," she said, reaching across to take my hand, "since you're retired now, you can watch Tyler and Madison. You're done working. You have all this free time, and they love being with their grandma." I just stared at her. "It's perfect," she said. "You can pick them up from school at 3, keep them until 6 when we get home, and over the summer you'd have them during the day. You're so good with kids, Mom. You've been teaching forever." "I just retired from teaching kids," I said quietly, "but these are your grandkids. It's different. And honestly, Mom, you'd be saving us so much money. We could actually start saving for their college." I didn't say what I was thinking. I didn't say, "I already spent 33 years raising children." I didn't say, "I have plans." I didn't say, "Did you ask me if I wanted this?" Instead, I said, "Let me think about it." "Think about what?" Lisa laughed. "Mom, you're not working. What else are you going to do? Take some classes? You can do that on weekends." Marcus walked in then, back from the hardware store. Lisa turned to him immediately. "Dad, tell Mom this is a great idea. Her watching the kids while we work. She's retired, she's available, and it saves us a fortune." Marcus looked at me. He knew. He could see it in my face. But he just shrugged. "It's up to your mother," he said. Lisa left an hour later, kissing my cheek. "Just think about it, Mom. But honestly, we're counting on you. I already told Kevin you'd probably say yes." I stood at the window watching her drive away in her new SUV, the one with the $680 monthly payment she'd mentioned 3 times. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that word, available. I wasn't available. I was retired. There's a difference. But I didn't know how to say that to my daughter without sounding selfish. What kind of grandmother doesn't want to spend time with her grandchildren? What kind of mother chooses a cruise over helping her own daughter save money? I told myself, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. A few hours after school, some summer days, I could still take my classes, I could still do my book club. I told myself I was being rigid, selfish even. So 2 weeks later, when Lisa called and said, "So, we're starting Monday, right, Ma? Tyler gets out at 3015, Madison at 3003. I heard myself say yes. I cancelled my watercolor class. I told the book club I'd join next session. I moved my Alaska cruise to next year. I told myself it was temporary. Just until they figured something else out. But here's what I didn't know then, sitting in my kitchen that Friday afternoon, looking at my daughter's expectant face. I didn't know that temporary would become 2 years. I didn't know that a few hours after school would become 10-hour days. I didn't know that my retirement savings would start disappearing. And I didn't know that the breaking point would come on an ordinary Tuesday in my own living room when I finally calculated exactly what my free help was actually costing me. How did I let 2 years pass before I saw it clearly? You need to add some text for me to talk. That first Monday started innocently enough. I picked up Tyler at 35C, then Madison at 3003. I had snacks ready, apple slices and string cheese. I thought we'd do homework, maybe play a board game, watch one show. Then Lisa would pick them up at 6. She arrived at 6045. "Sorry, Mom." "Traffic was insane," she said, barely looking up from her phone. The kids were already in the car before she hugged me. "Same time tomorrow?" It wasn't a question. Tuesday was 7,000 when. Wednesday was 6,050. By Friday, I stopped watching the clock. She'd get there when she got there. "Mom, you're already here. What difference does 30 minutes make?" she said when I gently mentioned it the second week. I didn't have an answer for that. What difference did 30 minutes make when I wasn't working? When I had nowhere else to be? The truth was, I did have places to be. My photography workshop started at 6 Thursdays. On Thursdays, I missed the first one waiting for Lisa. I missed the second one too. By the third week, I just didn't sign up. That was September 2022. I was 61 years old. My Alaska cruise left without me. I got a refund minus the $850 cancellation fee. I told myself I'd rebook for next summer. By October, the routine had solidified. I picked them up Monday through Friday. Lisa started asking me to give them dinner. "Just something simple, Mom. You're already there." And honestly, it helps us so much. We can actually breathe when we get home. So I started cooking for 4 instead of 2. Chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, hot dogs, kid food. I bought a special sippy cup for Madison because she didn't like regular cups. I kept their favorite cereal in my pantry. Cinnamon toast, Crunch for Tyler, Fruit Loops for Madison. I spent $60 a week on groceries for them. Lisa never offered to reimburse me. I told myself it wasn't about money, they were my grandchildren. In November, Lisa called on a Sunday night. "Mom, huge favor! Kevin has a conference this week. I have 3 late meetings. Can you keep the kids overnight Tuesday and Wednesday? I'll pick them up Thursday morning before school." I hesitated. Marcus looked at me from the couch. "It's just 2 nights, Mom. Please, we're drowning here." I said yes. 2 nights became a pattern. Whenever Lisa had evening events or Kevin traveled, the kids stayed over. Sometimes I'd have them 4 nights a week. I'd pack their lunches, make their breakfast, drive them to school in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon. I bought extra toothbrushes. Madison needed a nightlight, so I bought one. Tyler liked a specific blanket, so I ordered it online for $35. My guest room became their room. I moved my sewing machine to the basement. December came. Marcus and I usually drove to Gatlinburg the second week of December to see the lights. We'd been doing it for 15 years. "Mom, that's the week of Tyler's Christmas pageant," Lisa said when I mentioned it. "You can't miss that. He's a shepherd." We didn't go to Gatlinburg. Christmas Day, Lisa and Kevin came over at noon. We exchanged gifts. I bought the kids $200 worth of toys I'd researched for months. Lisa gave me a candle. A 12 candle from Target. I know because the price sticker was still on the bottom. We're so broke from Christmas, she sighed, drinking my coffee. Kids are expensive. I thought about the 60 weekly grocery bills, the overnight stays, the gas driving them around. But I stayed quiet. January 2023. My book club friend Julie called. Janet, we miss you. You haven't come once. Are you okay? I'm watching my grandkids, I said. It's just temporary. Temporary since September? She asked gently. Honey, that's 5 months. I told her I'd come to the next meeting. I didn't. February? Lisa asked if I could watch them over spring break. A whole week, Mom. I know it's a lot, but daycare is closed and we both have to work. You'd really be saving us. That week, I had them from 7:30 a.m. to 7:00 p.m., 5 days straight. I was exhausted by Wednesday. Tyler had a meltdown over a video game. Madison spilled juice on my couch, the one I'd just had cleaned for $180. Lisa picked them up Friday night at 8,000. Thanks, Mom. You're a lifesaver, she said, already halfway out the door. What would we do without you? I closed the door and cried. Marcus found me sitting on the kitchen floor. You have to tell her, he said. Tell her what? That I don't want to spend time with my grandchildren? That I'm too selfish to help my own daughter? That you're tired? That this isn't what you retired for? But I didn't say anything. Summer 2023 arrived. Lisa's plan, I'd watch the kids Monday through Friday, 8:00 a.m. to 6:00 p.m., all summer. Mom, do you know what summer camp costs? Like $400 a week per kid. We can't afford that. I thought about my Arizona trip, my garden plans, my mornings that were supposed to be mine. Okay, I heard myself say. That summer, I aged 5 years, 3 months of full-time childcare. Breakfast, lunch, snacks, activities, breaking up fights, cleaning up messes. I spent $340 at Target on summer activities to keep them busy. Bubbles. Sidewalk chalk. A small plastic pool for $89. Lisa never asked if I needed money for any of it. By August, Marcus stopped suggesting we take trips. He could see I was too tired. In September, when school started again, I felt relief. Just afternoons again, just a few hours. But those few hours had become my whole life. I scheduled everything around 3:35 p.m. Doctor appointments before noon. Grocery shopping at 10:00 a.m. My entire existence had reorganized itself around pickup time. I spent my 63rd birthday, October 2023, watching the kids. Lisa forgot it was my birthday until 8:00 p.m. She texted, OMG, Mom, happy birthday. Sorry, crazy day. Love you. No card, no call, no visit. Marcus took me to dinner the next night. Just us. I barely tasted the food. How much longer are you going to do this? He asked. She needs me, I said. What about what you need? I didn't have an answer. By January 2024, I'd been watching the kids for 16 months. I'd spent roughly $4,200 on food, supplies, activities, and gas. I'd given up my classes, my trips, my book club, my mornings, my plans. And I'd never once been asked if this was okay. I'd been told it was perfect. I'd been told I was available. But I'd never been asked if I wanted to be. How much of myself was I willing to give away before I admitted I was disappearing? February 2024. I woke up on a Tuesday and couldn't remember the last time I'd done something just for myself. Not for the kids, not for Lisa, not even for Marcus, just me. I tried to think back. A haircut in December, maybe? No, that was November, 4 months ago. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror that morning. Really looked. My hair had more grey than I remembered. I gained weight. Not much, maybe 15 pounds, but enough that my clothes fit differently. My face looked tired in a way that sleep didn't fix anymore. I was 63 years old and I looked 70. That day was Tyler's 8th birthday. Lisa had texted me the night before, Mom, can you pick up his cake from Sweet Treats and grab pizza for his party? Just 6-8 kids, I'll pay you back. She wouldn't pay me back. I knew that now. But I went anyway. The cake was $65, 3 pizzas were $47, paper plates, napkins, cups, decorations from the dollar store, $28, total $140. The party was at my house. Lisa decided that morning, "Your house is bigger, Mom, and you're already getting everything." It just makes sense. 8 kids turned into 12. They arrived at 4:00 p.m. Lisa and Kevin showed up at 4:45 after I'd already served pizza and started games. Lisa's friend Michelle was there, another mom. I overheard them talking in my kitchen while I was cutting cake in the dining room. "God, you're so lucky," Michelle said. "Your mum just does everything." "I know," Lisa laughed. "Honestly, I don't know what I'd do without her. Free childcare, she feeds them, she's always available. It's like having a live-in nanny, but better because she actually loves them." "Does she ever say no?" There was a pause. "No. I mean, why would she? She's retired. She's not doing anything else." I stood there holding the cake knife, feeling something crack inside my chest. Not doing anything else. 2 years of my life, my retirement, my plans, my Alaska cruise, my watercolor classes, my mornings, my silence. And to my daughter, it was nothing. The party ended at 7:30. Lisa left at 7:35 with the leftover cake. She didn't help clean up. There was pizza ground into my carpet. Juice spilled on my coffee table, 12 kids' worth of chaos in every room. Marcus helped me clean. We didn't talk. What was there to say that we hadn't already said? I was in bed by 10:00 p.m., calculating in my head. Since September 2022, 17 months ago, I had provided an average of 30 hours of childcare per week. That was 2,210 hours. If I charged what daycare charged, 15 per hour, that was 33,050. But I wasn't supposed to think like that. They were my grandchildren. You don't charge family. Except family was charging me, in time, in money, in dreams I'd folded up and put away. March came. Julie called again. "My book club friend. We used to talk every week. Now it had been 2 months. "Janet, I'm worried about you," she said. "You sound exhausted every time we talk. Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said automatically. "Just busy with the kids." "Honey, you retired 2 years ago to stop being busy with kids." I didn't have an answer. "When's the last time you did something for yourself?" she asked. "I thought about it, really thought." "I don't remember." "That's not okay. You know that, right?" After we hung up, I sat in my sunroom and made a list. Things I'd given up: Alaska cruise, photography class, book club, Tuesday morning yoga, weekend trips with Marcus, my sewing hobby, my garden plans, my college roommate visit, mornings that started slow, the ability to be spontaneous, plans that were mine. I'd given up being Janet. I'd become grandma who watches the kids. April arrived, spring break again. Lisa assumed I'd take them all week. She didn't ask. She told me the schedule on Sunday. "They'll be there Monday through Friday, 8:00 to 6:00. "You're the best, Mom." That week, Wednesday afternoon, Madison had a complete meltdown, screaming, throwing toys, inconsolable. She wanted her mother. Not me, her mother. I called Lisa. "Can you come home?" "Madison's really upset." "Mom, I'm in a meeting. Just give her some iPad time." "She'll be fine." "Lisa, she's been crying for 40 minutes. Mom, I can't leave work every time she's cranky. You've got this. You're great with kids." She hung up. I sat on the floor next to Madison while she cried, and I cried too. Tyler saw us both crying and got scared. He started crying. Marcus came home early and found all 3 of us on the living room floor. He scooped up Madison, calmed Tyler with a snack, and then looked at me. "This has to stop," he said quietly. "I know. So stop it. I can't just abandon her. She needs help." "What about what you need?" "When does that matter?" I didn't answer because I didn't know. May 2024, Mother's Day. I spent it watching Tyler and Madison while Lisa and Kevin went to brunch with Kevin's mother. "His mom never gets to see us," Lisa explained. "You see us all the time." "You understand, right, Mom?" I said. I understood. I spent Mother's Day making chicken nuggets and breaking up fights over a toy car. Marcus took me to dinner that night. "How was your Mother's Day?" the waitress asked cheerfully. "Lovely," I lied. In the car afterward, Marcus said, "You're allowed to be angry." "I'm not angry." "Then what are you?" I thought about it. Invisible. That was the word. Invisible. I'd become so available, so accommodating, so understanding that I'd disappeared. Lisa saw me as a resource, a solution to her problems. Free labor that came with unconditional love. She didn't see me as a person with my own needs, my own plans, my own life. Did I teach her this? Did I raise her to believe my needs didn't matter? That mothers and grandmothers just give and give until there's nothing left? Or did she just stop seeing me when it became convenient? June arrived. 2 years since I retired. Summer was coming. Lisa had already told me the schedule, Monday through Friday, 800 to 600, June through August. I hadn't said yes, but I hadn't said no either. My silence had become consent. I was sitting in my sunroom on a Thursday afternoon, watching the kids play in the backyard, when my phone buzzed. My retirement account statement. I opened it. 2 years ago, I had 127,000. Now I had 108,000. I'd spent 19,000 in 2 years on a retirement I wasn't living. Gas, food, activities, supplies. The trips I'd cancelled and lost deposits on, the classes I'd prepaid, the opportunities I'd missed. Not to mention the intangible costs, my time, my energy, my joy. I stared at that number. 108,000. And I finally asked myself the question I'd been avoiding for 2 years. What was I doing? The breaking point came on a Tuesday in late June 2024. An ordinary day. That's what made it worse somehow. It wasn't dramatic. It was just clear. I had picked up the kids at the usual time. Tyler from summer camp at 3,000, Madison from her program at 3003. We came back to my house. I made them snacks. Apple slices and peanut butter for Tyler, crackers and cheese for Madison. It was 87 degrees outside. My air conditioning was running constantly. I'd gotten the electric bill that morning, $340 for the month. Usually it was $180. The difference was having the kids there all day, every day. At 4015, my phone rang. It was Dr. Morrison's office. My annual checkup was scheduled for Thursday at 2:00 p.m. "I need to reschedule," I told the receptionist. "I watch my grandchildren." "Our next available appointment is in November," she said. November, 5 months away. For my annual checkup, I'd already rescheduled twice. "That's fine," I heard myself say. I hung up and stared at my phone. When had this happened? When had my own healthcare become negotiable? At 5003, Lisa called. I could hear traffic in the background. "Mom, I'm going to be late. We have a client dinner tonight. Kevin's already there. Can you keep the kids overnight?" "I'll get them in the morning." "Lisa, you didn't ask me beforehand. I'm asking now. Mom, this is important. This client is huge for Kevin. I have plans tonight." I didn't, but I said it anyway. There was a pause. "What plans? Does it matter?" "Mom, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important." "Please. Just this once, just this once." I'd heard that phrase maybe 50 times in 2 years. "Fine," I said. "You're the best. I'll text you in the morning." She hung up. I stood in my kitchen, phone in my hand, listening to Tyler and Madison argue over the TV remote in the living room. Something inside me felt very still, very quiet. I called Marcus. "They're staying over again. Lisa has a client dinner." "Did she ask you or tell you? Does it matter anymore?" He was quiet for a moment. "Do you want me to come home?" "No. I just needed to hear your voice." After dinner, I bathed the kids, read them stories, tucked them into the beds I'd bought special sheets for. Madison wanted 3 stuffed animals arranged a specific way. Tyler needed his nightlight at exactly the right angle. By 8003, they were asleep. I went to my bedroom and opened my laptop. I pulled up my banking app. I needed to see the actual numbers, not estimates. Facts. I created a spreadsheet. I went back through 2 years of bank statements. Groceries for the kids, 6,240 total 60-week average, 104 weeks. Gas for extra driving, 1,820 Tyler's birthday party, 140 Madison's birthday party last year, 100,005 Christmas gifts, 400 total over 2 years. School supplies when Lisa forgot, 78 clothes they'd left at my house, 240 activities, toys, entertainment, 890 electric bill increases, approximately 1,1920 over 2 years. Water bill increases, approximately 360. Then there was the retirement account. I'd withdrawn $5,000 last year when my car needed major repairs. I hadn't touched it before retirement. I'd been dipping into it because my fixed income was stretched thin feeding and entertaining 2 children 5 days a week. I stared at those numbers until they blurred. Almost $14,000 in 2 years, plus 2,210 hours of my time, plus every dream I'd deferred, plus my healthcare, plus my friendships, plus myself. At 9:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Lisa. Dinner is running long. Probably won't be there until 10 a.m. tomorrow. Can you take them to their dentist appointments? 9,000 and 9,003. I'll text you the address. You're a lifesaver. I read it 3 times. She'd made dentist appointments for tomorrow, during her work hours, and assumed I'd take them. She hadn't asked. She'd informed me, with a heart emoji. I looked at the spreadsheet on my screen, then at the text, then at the closed door of the guest room where my grandchildren slept in beds I'd bought, under sheets I'd washed, after eating food I'd cooked. And something that had been bending for 2 years finally snapped. I wasn't angry, I wasn't even hurt anymore, I was just done. I'd spent 2 years trying to be the perfect grandmother. Available, selfless, understanding. I'd twisted myself into whatever shape my daughter needed, believing that's what love looked like. But love isn't supposed to erase you. It's not supposed to make you invisible. I'd taught Lisa that my needs didn't matter by never stating them. I'd taught her that my time was free by never valuing it. I'd taught her that I would always say yes by never saying no. And she'd learned the lesson perfectly. I sat there in my bedroom, in my house that had become a free daycare center, looking at numbers that proved I'd spent my retirement funding someone else's life. The numbers didn't lie. The calendar didn't lie. The cancelled appointments and abandoned dreams didn't lie. I'd given 2 years waiting for Lisa to see what she was taking. But she would never see it, because I'd never shown her. I'd been so afraid of seeming selfish, of being the kind of grandmother who chose herself over her family, that I'd chosen to disappear instead. At 10:15 p.m., I texted Lisa back. I can't take them to the dentist. You'll need to reschedule or take off work. I watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Her response came 2 minutes later. Are you serious right now? Mom, I can't just leave work. Why are you being difficult? Difficult. 2 years of saying yes to everything, and the first time I said no, I was being difficult. I turned off my phone. I couldn't unsee it now. The scorekeeping I'd tried to avoid, the resentment I'd tried to suppress, the reality I'd tried to ignore. This wasn't help. This wasn't family. This wasn't love. This was being used quietly and completely with my own permission. And I'd given that permission every single day for 2 years by staying silent. What do you do when you finally see the truth you've been hiding from yourself? I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed listening to the house settle, thinking about every choice that had brought me to this moment. At 3:00 a.m., I got up and made coffee. I sat at my kitchen table with my spreadsheet printed out in front of me. All those numbers, all that time, all those yeses that had cost me myself. Marcus found me there at 5,003 when he woke up. You're up early, he said quietly. I've been up all night. He poured himself coffee and sat across from me. He looked at the spreadsheet. He didn't say anything for a long time. 2 years, I finally said. I gave her 2 years. And last night, when I said no to one thing, she called me difficult. What are you going to do? I don't know yet, but I know I can't do this anymore. At 7:00 a.m., Tyler and Madison woke up. I made them breakfast. Pancakes, because I'd promised Tyler on Monday. I kept my promise even though Lisa hadn't kept any of hers. At 8:40 a.m., my phone started ringing. Lisa! I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 8:47, again at 8:50. At 9,000 she texted, Mom, please, I'm begging you, just take them to the dentist. I'll make it up to you. I stared at that message. How many times had I heard, I'll make it up to you? How many times had that actually happened? I texted back, I already told you no, you need to handle this. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, I can't believe you're doing this to me. Do you know how hard I'm working? I need you, not, I love you, not, I appreciate you, not, I'm sorry I've taken advantage, I need you. At 9,030, she called again. This time I answered, Mom, what is going on with you? Her voice was sharp, frustrated. I'm tired, Lisa. Tired? Mom, you're retired. What do you have to be tired from? There it was, the thing she actually believed. That retirement meant I had nothing else to do, that my time had no value, that I existed to serve her needs. Lisa, I need you to come get the kids. I'm at work. I told you that. I can't just leave. Then you need to figure something out, because I'm not taking them to the dentist and I'm not keeping them today. Silence. Then, are you punishing me for something? No, I'm just saying no. This isn't like you. Maybe that's the problem. She hung up on me. At 10:15 a.m., Kevin called. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Janet, what's going on? His voice was calm, reasonable. Lisa's really upset. She says you're refusing to help with the kids. I'm not refusing to help. I'm saying I can't do everything anymore. But you've always been so good about watching them. What changed? Kevin, I've been watching them full-time for 2 years. I've cancelled my trips, my classes, my plans. I've spent almost $14,000 of my own money. And last night, Lisa told me about dentist appointments she made during work hours and just assumed I'd handle it. Well, you're not working, you're available. I closed my eyes. Even Kevin saw me this way. I'm retired. That's not the same as available. Lisa's really stressed right now. She needs her mom. What about what I need? He didn't have an answer for that. I have to go, I said and hung up. At 11:00 a.m., Lisa showed up. She'd left work. She came through my front door looking furious and exhausted. Where are the kids? In the backyard. She looked at me. Really looked at me. What is happening, Mom? Why are you acting like this? I handed her the printed spreadsheet. She glanced at it. What is this? That's what the last 2 years have cost me. In money, the time is separate. That's 2,200 hours. She stared at the paper. You kept track? You were keeping score this whole time? No, Lisa, I wasn't keeping score. I was disappearing, and I didn't even notice until last night. I don't understand. You love watching the kids. I love my grandchildren. But I didn't retire to become a free nanny. I retired to live my life. I had plans. I had dreams. And I gave all of them up because you needed me to. I didn't force you to do anything. No, you just assumed, and I let you assume. That's on me, but it stops now. Her face changed. Something between anger and fear. So what? You're just abandoning us, abandoning your grandchildren. I'm not abandoning anyone, but I'm not doing this anymore, not like this. Then how? What am I supposed to do for childcare? What every other parent does. You figure it out. You pay for it. You arrange your schedules. You handle it. We can't afford daycare, Mom. You know that. You can afford it. You just don't want to. You bought a new SUV last year. You went to Mexico in March. You eat out 4 times a week. You can afford it. You just prefer I do it for free. She looked like I'd slapped her. I can't believe you're saying this after everything I've done for you. I felt that sentence like a physical blow. Everything you've done for me. I visit you. I bring the kids to see you. I include you in their lives. Lisa, you don't visit me, you drop them off. You don't include me in their lives. You use me to make your life easier. That's not fair, isn't it? We stood there in my kitchen, 2 years of unspoken resentment suddenly filling the air between us. I need time, I said quietly. I need to figure out what my life looks like when I'm not organizing it around your schedule. How much time? I don't know, but starting today, I'm not available Monday through Friday. I'm not doing overnights unless we agree ahead of time, and I'm not paying for things anymore. So you're just going to be selfish now. That word, selfish, the word I'd been afraid of for 2 years. Maybe, I said, or maybe I'm just going to be a person instead of a resource. She gathered the kids, barely speaking to me. Tyler asked why Mommy looked upset. Madison wanted to stay. At the door, Lisa turned back. You're going to regret this? Maybe, I said, but I already regret the last 2 years. She left. I closed the door and stood in my suddenly quiet house. My phone buzzed. Julie. Lunch today? Her text said. For the first time in 2 years, I didn't have to check a schedule. Yes, I texted back. I'd love to. I was terrified. I'd just blown up my relationship with my daughter. I didn't know if she'd forgive me. I didn't know if I'd get to see my grandchildren. But I knew one thing for certain. I couldn't keep disappearing. Not for anyone. What does freedom cost when you've been invisible for so long? The first week was the hardest. Not because I missed the chaos, because I kept waiting for the guilt to crush me. It didn't come. Instead, I woke up on Wednesday morning at 8,030. Not because an alarm went off, not because I had to be somewhere, just because my body was done sleeping. I made coffee slowly. I sat in my sunroom and watched the birds. I did nothing for 2 hours, just sat there. It felt like the most radical thing I'd done in years. Lisa didn't call. She didn't text. The silence felt deliberate, punishing. Marcus said she was trying to make me feel bad enough to apologize. Is it working? He asked on Thursday evening. No, I said, and I meant it. On Friday, I called the community center. The watercolor class I'd wanted to take 2 years ago was still running. New session started in 2 weeks. I'd like to register, I told the woman on the phone. Wonderful. That's $450 for the 12-week session. I thought about the $6,240 I'd spent on groceries for kids who weren't mine to feed. I'll take it, I said. I registered for the Tuesday morning book club. I called my college roommate in Arizona and booked a flight for October, 340 round trip. I hadn't seen her in 6 years. I scheduled my doctor's appointment for the July slot that opened up. No more November, no more waiting. Marcus and I planned a weekend trip to Charleston for August. We booked a bed and breakfast overlooking the water. $480 for 2 nights. We hadn't taken a trip alone in 3 years. I wasn't being reckless. I was being intentional. I was spending my retirement money on my retirement. The second week, Julie and I had lunch twice. Real lunch where we talked for 2 hours and I didn't check my phone every 10 minutes. You look different, she said on Tuesday. Different how? Lighter, like you've been carrying something heavy and you finally put it down. She was right. I had put something down. The weight of constant availability. The burden of being needed at the expense of being myself. On Wednesday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. It was the director of the local library. They needed volunteer reading tutors for adults learning English. 2 afternoons a week, 2,000 to 4,000 p.m. Before, I would have said no. Those were pick-up hours. I'd love to, I said. I started the following Monday. My student's name was Maria. She was 52 from Guatemala, learning English to help her grandson with homework. She reminded me why I became a teacher. The joy of watching someone's face when something finally clicks. For 2 hours every Monday and Wednesday, I wasn't a grandmother or a mother or a wife. I was just a teacher again, myself again. Lisa found out through Kevin's mother, who heard from someone at church. She texted me on a Thursday night, "You have time to volunteer, but not to watch your own grandchildren." I didn't respond immediately. I waited until morning. Then I wrote, "Yes, I have time for things I choose to do. That's what retirement means." She didn't reply. In early July, Tyler had a soccer game. Lisa didn't invite me. I found out from Marcus, who heard from Kevin. I showed up anyway. I sat on the opposite side of the bleachers. I watched Tyler score a goal. I cheered. When the game ended, Tyler saw me and ran over. "Grandma, you came!" "Of course I came. I love watching you play." Lisa stood 20 feet away, talking to another mom. She saw me. She didn't wave. Tyler hugged me. "Are you coming over after?" "Not today, sweetheart. But maybe we can plan something soon." "Like what?" "How about we go to the Science Museum? Just you, me, and Madison, next Saturday?" His face lit up. "Really? Really? I'll pick you up at 10:00 a.m. and have you home by 3:00. Your mom can let me know if that works." I said it loud enough for Lisa to hear. That night she texted, "Saturday is fine, but I'm not paying for the museum tickets." "I didn't ask you to," I replied. "I'm taking my grandchildren on an outing. That's what grandparents do." The difference was clear now. I was choosing when and how I spent time with them. It wasn't about money, it was about agency. Saturday came. I picked them up at exactly 10:00 a.m. We went to the Science Museum. We saw the planetarium show. We ate lunch in the cafe. I bought them each one thing from the gift shop. 28 total. At 3:00 p.m., I brought them home. Lisa opened the door. "Did you have fun?" she asked them. "It was awesome," Tyler said. Madison hugged my leg. "Can we go again?" "We'll see," I said, smiling. Lisa looked at me. Something in her face had changed. Not quite apology, not quite understanding, but maybe the beginning of seeing me differently. "Thanks, Mom," she said quietly. "You're welcome. I didn't stay. I didn't come in for coffee. I didn't linger hoping she'd talk to me. I left. Because I was learning something important. Being available when it mattered was different from being available all the time." In August, Marcus and I took our Charleston trip. 3 days of walking historic streets, eating good food, watching sunsets over the harbor. We held hands like we used to. We talked about things that weren't grandchildren or schedules. On our last night, sitting on the bed and breakfast porch, he said, "I missed this." I missed us. "Me too. Are you happy?" he asked. I thought about it. Really thought. I'm getting there. My watercolor class started in September. I wasn't good at it. My trees looked like green blobs, but I didn't care. I was learning something new. I was trying something just because I wanted to. I made friends in the class, women my age who'd also retired and were rediscovering themselves. We started meeting for coffee after class. One of them, Patricia, said something that struck me. "Isn't it funny how we spend our whole lives being what everyone needs, and then we retire and have to remember who we actually are?" Yes, exactly that. Lisa and I still weren't close. We were polite, distant. I saw the kids twice a month. Planned outings, specific times, clear boundaries. It wasn't what I'd imagined grandmothering would look like, but it was healthier than what it had been. In late September, Lisa called. Actually called, not texted. "Mom, can we talk?" "Of course, I've been thinking about what you said." "About me using you. And I think you were right." I didn't say anything. I let her continue. "I didn't see it, or I didn't want to see it. I just thought you were happy to help. But I never asked if you were happy. I just assumed." "Yes," I said quietly. "You did. I'm sorry." 2 words I'd waited 2 years to hear. "Thank you," I said. "Can we start over?" "Not like before, but better?" "I'd like that." We were rebuilding, slowly, with boundaries that protected us both. I was rebuilding too, my life, my sense of self, my retirement. It looked different than I'd planned 2 years ago, but it was mine. How do you reclaim yourself after giving everything away? It's been 6 months since that Tuesday night when I finally said no. 6 months since I turned off my phone and decided I mattered too. I'm sitting in my sunroom this morning, the same place where I used to calculate how many hours until pickup time. But now it's just Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. I've already had coffee with Julie. I'm meeting Patricia at noon for lunch. Tomorrow, I'm tutoring Maria, and this weekend, Marcus and I are driving to the mountains just because we can. My life doesn't look revolutionary, it looks ordinary, but that ordinariness is what I fought for. Lisa and I have dinner together once a month, usually at a restaurant, neutral territory where we're both just people, not mother and daughter locked in old patterns. We talk about her work, my classes, the kids' school progress. Sometimes it's comfortable, sometimes it's still awkward. Last week, she said something that surprised me. I got so used to you always being there that I forgot you were a person with your own life. I'm sorry for that. Not a full apology for everything, but an acknowledgement. That's more than I expected 6 months ago. I see Tyler and Madison twice a month, sometimes 3 times. Planned visits, museums, parks, the zoo, my house for Saturday afternoon baking. Quality time, not just quantity. Madison tells me things now, real things, because I'm not too exhausted to listen. Tyler shows me his drawings because I have time to look at them properly. They know I love them, but they also know I have a life beyond them. I think that's healthier than what I was teaching them before, that women exist to serve everyone else's needs. Kevin apologized too, in his way. He pulled me aside at Tyler's school concert last month. I didn't get it, he said. What Lisa was asking, what you were giving up. I get it now. Apparently they hired a nanny. $2,800 a month. The nanny has set hours, days off, boundaries, everything I didn't have. That's what I was worth, I told Marcus later. $2,800 a month, and they never offered me $1. They offered you guilt and obligation instead, he said, and you accepted it. He was right. I had accepted it. That was my part in this. I'd been so afraid of being seen as selfish, so afraid of being the grandmother who said no, that I'd erased myself completely. I've learned something in these 6 months. Selfishness and self-care aren't the same thing. Taking care of myself doesn't make me a bad grandmother. It makes me a whole person. And whole people make better grandmothers than exhausted, resentful ones. My retirement account is at $104,000 now. I spent $4,000 on the things I'd been putting off, my Arizona trip, my classes, the Charleston weekend, new hiking boots for the trails. Marcus and I are exploring. A really good camera for my photography hobby. I'm not wealthy, but I'm spending my money on my life now, not on maintaining someone else's convenience. The watercolor class ended last week. My final painting was of my sunroom, morning light coming through the windows. It's not perfect, the perspective is off, and the colors are muddy in places, but I hung it in my kitchen anyway because I made it, and that matters. I signed up for the advanced class starting next month. Maria graduated from the reading program 2 weeks ago. She read a children's book to her grandson without help, and she cried when she told me about it. I cried too. I'm starting with a new student next week, a man from Somalia who wants to pass his citizenship test. This is what retirement was supposed to be, not empty time, not just waiting around to be useful to someone else, but purposeful time that I choose. Julie asked me last Tuesday if I had any regrets. About standing up for myself? No, I said. About waiting 2 years to do it. Yes? What would you tell someone in the same situation? She asked. I thought about that. What would I say to the woman I was 2 years ago, sitting in my kitchen while Lisa told me I was available? I'd say, your time has value even when you're not getting paid for it. Your dreams matter even if they seem small. Your needs are legitimate even if other people don't understand them. And saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest. I'd say people will take what you give and they'll ask for more and they'll call it love. But real love doesn't erase you. Real love doesn't require your silence. I'd say you are allowed to exist fully, completely, even at 60, even as a mother, even as a grandmother. You are allowed to be more than what other people need you to be. Marcus and I are planning that Alaska cruise for next summer. We're going. We've already booked it. June 2025. 11 days. Glaciers, whales, mountains, everything I wanted 3 years ago. Lisa knows about it. She didn't ask me to cancel. That's progress. Last Sunday, I was in my garden, finally planting the vegetables I'd bought seeds for 2 years ago. Tyler and Madison were visiting for the afternoon. Tyler was helping me dig holes. Madison was examining every worm we uncovered. Lisa came to pick them up right on time, 4,000 p.m. like we'd agreed. "Mom," she said, watching me brush dirt off my knees, "you seem really happy." "I am," I said. "I'm glad," she said, and I think she meant it. After they left, Marcus found me still in the garden, just sitting there in the dirt, looking at the tiny tomato plants I'd finally gotten around to planting. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "I'm thinking that I almost let 2 years turn into 5, into 10, into the rest of my life." "But you didn't." "No," I said, "I didn't. If stories like this resonate with you, stay connected, like and subscribe. We talk about real things here. I'm 64 now. I have good years ahead of me, I hope. Years I'm not going to spend disappearing. Years I'm going to spend being exactly who I am, unapologetically, because here's what I finally learned. You can love your family completely and still choose yourself. Those two things aren't opposites, they're both necessary. I thought retirement was supposed to be about rest, but it's not about rest. It's about becoming who you are when nobody needs you to be anything else, and I'm still learning who that is. At 64. In my garden, with dirt under my fingernails and plans for next summer and a life that finally feels like mine. That's not the ending I expected when I walked out of Jefferson Elementary 3 years ago, but it's the one I fought for, and it's enough.